Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Tuesday edition of the Computer America Show. We got a terrific show planned for you. As always, here on the program in the second hour, computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. And in the first hour, we're going to go all the way to Israel. Pardes Hana. I don't think you've ever heard of that. At least I never have. Pardes Hana, Israel. We're going to be talking to the founder, creator, and CEO of PowerUp Toys. We're going to be talking about their PowerUp 3.0 that turns a paper airplane, one that you make, into a smartphone-controlled flying machine. Uses Bluetooth.
1 minute until showtime.
Very cool technology, and we're going to be starting momentarily. It's a great show, and I have a terrific lineup for you today. So sit back, relax, enjoy 2 hours of Computer America coming at you right here. Okay, Shai, we're going to be starting in 30 seconds.
Okay.
All right, stand by. Ten seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And welcome into the program. And Ben and I have a terrific show planned for you. All of you had a pleasant Monday. It looks a little ominous out there. The sky turned almost green. I don't know.
Yeah, weather's a weird thing, and usually when it turns green, yeah, not a good thing. Not a good thing.
Well, hopefully it'll pass by. But we have a terrific show planned for you. In the second hour of the show, we're going to bring you computer and technology news. That's brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. Got some great stories. Some we didn't get to yesterday. Hopefully, we'll have more time to get to them today, as well as some news stories and developments that just popped up in the past 24 hours. And then in the first hour, we're going to go all the way to Israel. We have a guest in Israel. He's in a small town that I never actually heard of. Most of it was Tel Aviv. He's in a place called Pardes Hana, Israel. Have you ever heard of Pardes Hana?
No, not say I have had the pleasure.
Okay, well, he's there, and we're going to be talking to the founder, creator, and CEO of PowerUp Toys. They have something called PowerUp 3.0. Get this: you take a standard, you make an, how everybody's done it. You take a paper airplane, you make a paper airplane, you fold it, you put sheet, you make the folds in it, and you're off and running. Well, evidently, they have a way that takes your self-made paper airplane, and they turned it into a smartphone-controlled flying machine using Bluetooth connectivity to fly your paper airplane. It's an amazing product. We're going to be talking to him. His name is Shay, and he is Shay Gwaiting, and he is the founder, creator, CEO of PowerUp Toys. If you have a question or a comment for him or for me or for Ben, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. If you don't want to call us, we just go to ComputerAmerica.com. Any page there. On the upper right-hand corner, it says Submit a Question. It's a link. Click it. You'll be taken to our question submission page, and just type in your question. Ben and I hit the submit button, and Ben and I will see it immediately, and we'll act accordingly upon whatever you sent us. The other thing also is you can watch the Computer America show. We are a radio broadcast, but we also provide live video streaming. Again, head over to computeramerica.com. Any page on the menu bar there, it'll say Show Lounge. Just click it, and you'll be taken to our live video streaming page. You'll be joined to the show already in progress if you haven't done it immediately, and you'll be able to watch the show. And Ben also has the technology to display websites, videos, movies, links. You can see all of that on his video stream, so it just makes it for a more interactive program for you. And that's all available at computeramerica.com, which is the internet home of a radio broadcast. So that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to mention before we get this road on the show? Okay.
Wait, did you say road on the show?
Yes, that's
No. Of course, please go to Computer America and, check out our archives, because we do try to put on a good live show, but we also have a lot of shows that, odds are not everyone can make every show, and we have a lot of great guests on, even when you're not listening, 5 days a week. So please go listen to our archives, and we have lots of different places that you can check those out. But other than that, no, I think this looks really exciting with PowerUp. I can't wait to get to it, because I know personally my paper airplanes, I've made them, I throw them, they go about 2 feet, and then they take a nosedive directly into the floor. So
no longer, not with PowerUp.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that. All right, well, let's bring him on. I know he's waiting patiently in Israel. And again, this is for the tech-savvy man or child who dreams of recreating an unforgettable childhood memory. Right now, PowerUp 3.0 turns a self-made paper airplane into a smartphone-controlled flying machine. It takes paper airplanes to a new high-tech heights using Bluetooth connectivity that provides a flight range of 180 feet. My paper planes wouldn't even go 15 feet, let alone 180 feet. The flying experience is enhanced by something they call flight assist technology. It's built with a crash-proof carbon fiber body, so it can take a beating and keep on flying. There's a slogan in there somewhere. PowerUp 3.0 gets 10 minutes of flight time on a single charge. It's amazing. Now, here to explain how all of this works is Shai Guiting. He is the founder, creator, and CEO of PowerUp. Shai, welcome to Computer America. How are you?
Hi, doing great. Thanks for the amazing opening.
Our pleasure. So you're in Pardes Hana, Israel. Now, where's most of us know where Tel Aviv. Well, where's Pardes Hana?
So Israel is a kind of a long country, and Tel Aviv is on the coastline. North of it is Haifa, and Pardes Hana is smack in between, very close to the beach. It's a nice, quiet little town. A lot of artists and musicians and inventors as well. So I'm one of them.
Okay, and are you from Pardes Hana? Is that your hometown, or?
Yeah, no, I'm originally was born in Jerusalem.
Ah, Jerusalem.
And I also live and also my mother is from Kansas City, if you believe it.
Kansas City. All right.
And but she came over to Israel. She immigrated to Israel, and most of my life lived in Jerusalem. A certain portion also in Boston, and now I live in Pardes Hana.
So, all right, there you are.
I was about to say that didn't sound like a Kansas City accent, so no. that clears things up.
Yeah.
So there you are. You find yourself in Pardes Hana, Israel, and give us a little of your background. What made you decide to create something like this? And usually, when we think of technology, we think of computers and devices. The last thing you think of is a paper airplane. I mean,
yeah, not a lot of people get their 4 or 6 year degree in mechanical engineering or computer science or something along those lines and says, I'm going to go make paper airplanes better, because no one's really been working on that front.
I mean, how did you decide on doing something like this?
It's pretty crazy.
Well, tell us.
But I think I think everything starts from a young age, right? So for me, it really started from my passion to flight as a very young kid. Even in the States, where you play with the rocketry and balsa wood gliders, and later in my life, at the age of 15, I convinced my father to learn hand gliding and then paragliding.
Wow.
So this whole flying thing stuck to me, and eventually I became a professional pilot in the Air Force.
Oh.
And I was there a pilot for around 15 years, a cargo pilot. But I can tell you the fun stuff is before you become a real pilot. When you become a real pilot, you understand it's a lot of hard work, very sometimes really boring. But the essence of flight really always stuck to me. And in parallel, I'm also in profession a designer and inventor. That's what I studied. I worked for a few years as a designer in a design firm, and afterwards in a company that was later acquired by Kodak in Israel, a digital company. And this idea of funny idea, as you mentioned it, actually was born around a very nice story, which was that volunteering, teaching immigrants. In Israel, we have, as you know, a lot of immigrants, and in the recent years, we had a lot of Ethiopian Jews that immigrated here. And as an evening project, my wife, which is a social worker, convinced me to volunteer. And I created a program for teaching aerospace and aerodynamics for teenagers. And while working on the curriculum and studying and doing some research what to teach these kids, you go through the internet, you do some searches, and this whole reliving this whole flight experience again as a kid, looking what happened since the last time I glued and cut balsa. It really intrigued me how technology had made a lot of advances in the immediate, moving from balsa wood to fiber carbon, and the whole amazing advancements in battery technology, with the lithium polymer batteries and ultra small receivers. So all this was something that was, when I prepared this program for teaching kids and how to fly and how to build and how things work, why do things fly, I actually learned it actually contributed to me and provided me a lot of information and insights regarding things that can be made. And as an evening project, this idea of, hey, why don't we, buy this very high-end kit with ultralight components and play around and tinker with it. And it came to me that, wow, maybe we can actually put this on a paper airplane. That would be crazy. And I had to test it. I had to, and as a designer, as an inventor, I take these projects really seriously. So first you have to ask the major question, what problems you want to solve? And the main thing with paper airplanes is that, the customer makes it from a sheet of paper. Usually they're not so accurate. They won't, maybe they'll nosedive, as you said before, or they'll fly in some kind of funny direction.
Yeah.
And this was the question, how can you add a propulsion system that you can control and can successfully connect on any airplane, and it'll still work? And I met with a good friend, which is an aerospace engineer. And together we asked these questions and what it meant in terms of aerodynamics, in terms of center of gravity, all these things that have to do with flight. And eventually I made this prototype.
Wow.
And this prototype went through an evolution, like any design process, that turned into something that you test. And I remember that amazing day that you go out to the field, you fold a paper airplane and you try it out and you see what happens. And that's something you can't forget, that you suddenly see a simple paper airplane, instead of going down, going up and going up and up and up, and you can control it, and it can fly for not just for a few seconds, but for a few minutes. So that was like the post-Eureka moment.
Wow. Did when you first proposed this to your friend, who was the engineer, I mean, did he think you were kidding? I said, I mean, what was his reaction? He said, oh, I want to make something to make a paper airplane that anybody can make and make it fly. I mean, what was his first reaction to that?
Yeah, well, he's used to me. You know, he's a good friend, and he knows that I have crazy ideas. So I think he wasn't really surprised.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So now you are a pilot, as you mentioned. You also mentioned hang gliding, and I've always wanted. I've never had the nerve really to go hang gliding, but that's, to me, a hang gliding is almost.
What is scary about dangling your body over hundreds of feet as you dangle from what is essentially a cloth canvas and a couple of metal bars? What's scary about that?
Yeah, what's scary? I mean, the point is, but when I saw a movie about he had like a GoPro or something on it, and the whole movie was about him this hang gliding out in the middle of the desert. You know, and I think it was Death Valley, and so he jumped off some of these high cliffs. And it was breathtaking what he could do and how he could soar like that.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's the closest.
Yeah, I think it's the closest. It's the closest thing to being a bird.
Yeah, really, it is. It's the closest
point of view that you feel the air on your face.
Yeah.
You hear the noise.
No noise.
Whooshing of the air. You know.
Just totally silent. I mean, I think that's as close as you can get to actually flying with that, because there's no propulsion, there's no motor, there's no nothing. It's just you and the wind. And you're up there flying, and it's just absolutely amazing what you can do and with hang gliding. So you've done that, you've experienced that, and then the next thing is you said you wanted to take a paper airplane, which you wanted to allow people to take their standard airplanes. And I take mine, I fold it 3 or 4 times. You know, I make a fold in the middle, make the wings, maybe little air things in the back, and I throw it, and it goes. Maybe sometimes it'll go a couple of feet, and maybe it just takes a total nosedive. So, what are some of the issues that you had to come up with to make this work? Because we're getting the details, but I mean, the average paper airplane really is not very stable or aerodynamic, is it?
Well, you'll be surprised. It's actually quite an amazing machinery, and it's interesting to hear how you describe your knowledge in folding, because that's the amazing thing about that is making the crease, the centerfold, tweaking the rear elevators.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those things that everybody knows how to do. I mean, if you'd ask almost any adult or kid or how it's done, it's always the same. It's always about folding something in half, making it look like a dart. Usually there's 1 or 2 or 3 designs that everybody knows.
Right.
And then there's that tweaking, right? How the adjusting and tweaking.
Right. I remember
making it fly farther and farther and farther.
Right. Sometimes I will use a paper clip sometimes on that. I want to move the paper clip forward or backwards a little bit to give it a more.
See, and the reason I think everyone knows those couple designs, I think I have to blame the public school system, because things get so boring that kids pull out that piece of paper that they all have, and then they experiment and making a paper airplane. It's entertaining. So yeah.
Yeah, but you said 2 things. You said it's entertaining and it's an experiment in school, right? So you actually learn something by throwing an airplane in the class, by adjusting it and making sure it reaches all the way to the chalkboard. It really is. If you think of it, it really is a real experiment, because it doesn't. There is a reason it gets there, because it generates lift. And but as a kid, you don't think about that, right? You're just having fun,
right?
And that's something that I think when I did it, for me, was I always loved airplanes, paper airplanes, and taking this challenge of making a controlled with propulsion a paper airplane was more of kind of taking a challenge that maybe is impossible, maybe almost a practical joke.
Yeah, but maybe the teacher
And,
wouldn't. The teacher wouldn't appreciate it. It made it all the way to the board, and then it hit. The teacher would turn around and go, "Okay, who did that?" You know.
Well, I mean, like a math or a science teacher would totally appreciate, I think on some level that, but your history teacher probably doesn't really care for it.
Yeah, of course, you do what you do in the recess. You throw it from the window and see how far it goes. So I think for me, I didn't actually make it for any customers initially. I made it for myself as a kind of a fun thing to do, and stole some hours during work and during lunch, and went to the park to see if I can make this fly, and it flew, and that really blew my mind because I could spend an hour flying this thing, soaring in the sky, and it's something that you make, that you create, and it's a paper airplane. And very quickly it occurred to me that, this is something that I shouldn't keep to myself. I should probably do something with it and maybe commercialize it or sell it to somebody and share it with the world so others can experience it and it won't just be another weekend project.
Okay.
And
so then do you give listeners, and that's just people who have the product suggestions of how to make a better we lost Shy. Good grief. All right, I need to call him back. We got disconnected. So
unfortunately it's things like this happen.
Yeah, it does. We'll try to get him back. He's in as I said, he's in Israel, and connection sometimes is a little bit more difficult. See if he answers again. If not, we'll try it back in a minute. Yeah, there we are. Okay.
I'm here. I'm sorry. It looks like for some reason it disconnected.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep calling you back. That's okay. So do you offer design hints? And when people buy this or are going to buy this PowerUp 3.0, do you make suggestions of what would be the best paper airplane to make, or do you just let people design whatever they want?
That's a great question. So my first design that I actually commercialized, I was being too smart, and I actually said, hey, I'm not going to ship paper. Everybody has paper at home. I'm just going to provide this propulsive unit, and anyone should be able to fold an airplane and do it on their own. And very quickly, and we of course recommended certain designs, but very quickly I learned that not everyone knows exactly how to fold, how to do it properly. And for me, really, it was really important to get this successful, I call it gravity-defying moment. The customer can see it go up, and that's when you go, wow. So in the second version, we added a special improved kind of paper with a very specific template. So the first timer would always succeed. And afterwards, you can make other designs and tinker and play with it until he gets the hang of it. So yeah, and then on our website, we actually provide a lot of different designs that fly faster.
You have, I think you have like one prop and two prop. You have it for multiple different props.
Yes, we also have a twin engine also. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you get bored of using one engine, you can actually put a twin engine, and you can create a multiple engine paper airplane, which is even crazier. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're watching the video Ben has been playing, I mean, you actually, you can use your smartphone. You actually have a camera in this, so you can see what the plane is seeing when it's moving forward, and you can steer the plane.
Essentially first person, yeah.
Yeah, first person. So basically, by tilting or angling the smartphone or tablet, you can control the flight of the plane. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we actually have, yes, it is. But we actually have the PowerUp concept. We have three different.
Okay.
I call it categories or products. We have one that's free flight. You just supercharge it, and it'll fly up to a minute. That was the first one we launched about 5 years ago. Then we have the PowerUp, and that's the name of that one is PowerUp 2. Then we have the PowerUp 3, which is the one that you started the show and you described, which is a smartphone controlled. It's like an RC, but you can control it with the smartphone using Bluetooth. That one was launched on Kickstarter 2 years ago, and it was very successful. Still #1 in flight on Kickstarter. And the recent one that you just described with the video streaming, that's an entirely new product. Again, a paper airplane, you fold it, but what's unique about it is that you, besides controlling it, we have a live streaming video camera. So we have a camera on top of the aircraft, which streams a live video feed to your smartphone. And you actually see it in real time in very, very low latency through your phone and using Google Cardboard. So you see what the airplane sees. You control it. You actually get the point of view almost like a hand glider or like a real aircraft of a paper airplane. So you can soar up to 300 feet, if you can imagine, with a paper airplane. And you can see the neighborhood with an ultra wide, and it's on a paper airplane. You're not on a Zeppelin or an aircraft or even a drone. You're on a paper airplane, and you're flying as if you're sitting on top of that airplane.
If you're watching the video, Ben is actually showing the PowerUp video. This is amazing.
I'll be honest. When I saw this, I was like, you know, you're in these beautiful parks. You know, you're out in nature and the world around you, and then you put on a virtual reality headset, and because apparently your current reality is very, very boring. But when you actually see, especially when you had kind of the view from the virtual reality helmet, you realize that yes, you have a virtual reality helmet, so you're kind of ignoring everything around you, but at the same time you're seeing the park, the beach, wherever you are from 300 feet up in the air, and that is by far one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. Definitely from a paper airplane, but this even takes it a little bit further than drones, I think.
Yeah, so it's I think what's unique about what we've done here is that it's a kind of a mesh. There's a few different things that are happening these days: drones and virtual reality and drone racing. I think it's a bit more similar to drone racing because the airplane is a fixed wing. It's continuously moving and has a trajectory. It can fly up to around 20 miles per hour. It's quite fast, and it's a paper airplane. We added also this feature that you can rotate the camera to the rear. So you don't do this in mid-air when you're flying. You actually have the choice to do this before you take off. This feature lets you record a rear stream of video that you can actually afterwards share with your friends. And it's a kind of a cool feature because the world is continuously zooming out. So the first shot is when you're launching it. It actually photographs you as you're launching it. So you can say something and you launch it and you continuously see the world zooming out from a paper airplane. It'll also photograph the airplane. It'll show the wings. So if you have different designs, it'll actually show which airplane you're using. And this is not for first-person view because you're not gonna fly it looking at the rear. This is just for regular, like a remote control. Like we also have this option on the smartphone, but it really gives a few different points of view and different experiences of flight from first-person view to remote control. And all of this is with a video feed that you can record and share with your friends.
And it's a plane that you make. I mean, this is not going out and buying a drone, and hooking it up. I mean, it's fine. I mean, but the thrill of saying I made this airplane. I made it with my own two hands, and this thing is flying like a bird. Is just absolutely amazing to see something like that. So I would think you get a sense of accomplishment more so than you would with a drone that you went and spent $1,500 on. And this
much more personalized.
Especially, and that's the core idea. I mean, I think that's why I'm so, I'd say, vigilant about keeping this concept, because I think when you are involved in making something and improving it, it makes you really feel great about yourself, and when you fly on top of it, it's even more. And after you do it for the first time, then afterward you start getting curious. You say, hey, what happens if I'll make these wingtips, or maybe I'll make a bigger airplane? or I'll make, I don't know, a Star Wars airplane, or I'll try a slow flyer, or maybe an aerobatic design. And all these different options, really open a whole world of experimentation. So it really gives it more, I'd say, depth to that concept.
And very little cost. If you want to make a fighter or more aerobatic one, you don't have to go out and start from beginning. I mean, it's paper. You fold it, you put it together.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The paper that is shown in all the videos and the ones that kind of come with the kit, the paper is very, very high quality. But I assume that high quality paper can be, kind of purchased at craft stores and things like that, right?
Yeah, it's everything is designed around the standard copier paper. Actually, copier paper is a really good paper. There is a reason why we love making paper airplanes from them. So the smaller design, the PowerUp 2 and 3 are using standard 8.5 by 11, and SPV design, the new one that we're just now releasing, is using 11 by 17. And you do need a bit of a more heavier paper. Usually will give you a bit more durability. Mm-hmm. We do give with the kit a paper that is also, we have an option to use waterproof paper. So if you're, for example, flying in very wet or humid conditions, the paper won't sag, because you need to have some kind of stiffness in the wings.
Sure.
This is like an option that we provide for depending on where you live.
Well, I'll tell you what,
I actually had the opportunity to fly this in the snow.
Shai?
About 3 weeks ago in Vancouver. Yeah, sorry.
Listen, we're at the bottom of the hour break. Time is just flying by. Haha, pun intended. But I want to get into what comes in the box. All right, let's talk. We're going to talk about the PowerUp 2.0, the 3.0 when we come back, okay? So stay with us.
Okay.
You're listening to the Computer America Show. We're talking about PowerUp toys, the PowerUp 3.0. Shai Guaitain is here with us. He's speaking to us from Paris, Pardes Hana, Israel. We'll be right back with him right after this.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
No, it's not a denial of service attack if you just didn't pay your bill. Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, NetObjects Fusion 2015. Our own News Tips website looks like a brochure that somebody left in a dentist's office in 1985, but we'll soon be addressing that because NetObjects just sent Fusion 2015, their WYSIWYG web authoring software, in its latest release. We're impressed by a number of interesting features they added since the last version we used, version 11, including new options for graphics. The ease of use remains spectacular, and the wizardry of their wizards could readily allow a simple site to go from scratch to ready in less time than a lunch break. Bottom line, NetObjects Fusion 2015 gives us more ways than ever to create and maintain our websites with ease and aplomb. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show here. 33 minutes past the hour. That was Marty Winston with a News Tip Bulletin review. You'll be hearing that one all week long. And yes, we are here, and we're talking with...
we just lost them.
We were here talking with the CEO, founder, and creator of PowerUp, which is a very cool kit that you can actually order to... obviously we're calling back now. The phone line seems to be dropping, but the interview itself seems to be going well. Actually, it's very, very interesting.
Right. It's just fortunately when you have connections like this, it breaks. Shai, are you there? Nope. It didn't. Okay. And unfortunately, there's no way to dial it silently. The mechanism we have, we can't dial it quietly. We just have to.
Well, there is, but we don't want to do it. So.
Yeah. Okay. And hopefully we'll get him back on. But yeah, we're talking about the PowerUp 3.0. It lets you take a paper airplane that you make and add power to it. Shai? Nope, he's not there still.
Okay.
Do you want to try to dial him so we don't have the ringing sound?
Yeah. Here, let me try calling him in a second. But but as I was saying, we're talking with him and how to turn a paper airplane. And with their 3.0, you can turn it into a first-person camera with virtual reality. Be able to actually steer a paper airplane, which is something definitely different.
Yeah, you need to get on AIM because I think the number on the calendar.
Okay.
So I'll send you that number so that you can call him. And meantime, I'll try connecting one more time since when you're doing that. Let's see if we can get him. Again, our apologies, but the technology, these things happen sometimes. Hey, Shai.
Hey.
Oh, there you are. Okay, good enough. In the meantime, sorry about that. We keep dropping you, but
it's okay. I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. Anyway, so let's get back to the product itself. So when you buy a PowerUp, what do people get in the box? I know you get different things from the 1.0 to the 2.0 and 3.0. Why don't you tell us what comes with each one?
Okay, so across all of three concepts, 2.0, 3.0, and the SPV, which is the recent one, you get what I call a smart module and a sheet of paper, and with spare parts or accessories.
Mm-hmm.
With the 2.0, you get the smart module is constructed with a propeller, a motor, and a high capacity and a capacitor that you can charge quickly.
Mm-hmm.
In 20 seconds, it'll charge, and then it'll fly for up to a minute. And this one comes with a quick manual charger that you put 3 AA batteries, you plug it to the airplane, and thrust it up. After 20 seconds, you can launch the airplane, and the propeller will turn, take the airplane up to 20, 30 yards up to a minute flight.
Okay.
That's the 2.0. The 3.0, first of all, you'll need a smartphone that you don't get in the package, but you get the smart module, which includes, again, a kind of the same concept, which is a kind of a rod that has a propeller, a motor propeller, and a rear rudder for steering.
Mm-hmm.
And on the front, this is where it connects to the airplane, you have the battery and the receiver, the Bluetooth smart receiver.
Mm-hmm.
If you get, of course, a sheet of paper, the quick installation guide, all the other stuff. This is the 3.0, and really the connectivity is very simple. You just download the free app, you turn on the module, and it's quite intelligent. It actually, for the first time, when you turn on the module, it'll wirelessly upload the most recent firmware onto the airplane. So you're literally updating your paper airplane with a new firmware as well. And we are also continuously updating the app. For example, the twin engine app was a recent update. So this really is kind of cool because it gives the product if you purchase this product, it gives you more and more value, not only after 15 minutes of play, but you can pick it after a month and do something new with it. And with the SPV, that's the most advanced model, and that's the one that we recently launched on Kickstarter and raised about $500,000 for that project.
Wow.
And we'll be shipping this summer. This one actually includes a twin engine module because we need much more thrust. We're using a Wi-Fi transmitter. So the airplane is actually creating a hotspot, a flying hotspot, with a live streaming video and audio. So it'll also record the sounds of the flight. It'll record you when you take off. It'll record the crash. So it's kind of cool. Very immersive experience.
Yeah, we actually,
you get also.
We actually have a recording of someone who crashed the plane that we play it back for you here. Exactly. Okay.
and the nice thing with the FPV is that you also get the viewer included. So it's a full system to experience real flight from an airplane. And that's quite unique because if you compare it to any other product out there, for $200, you can't really get any kind of a real first-person view experience with a viewer that you put on your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you an immersive experience. So that's, and we also are, I think, pretty much the first ones that married this concept of a Google Cardboard, which is really intended for VR,
mm-hmm.
and we repurposed it for viewing, what a paper airplane use.
Now
that was kind of cool.
Now are you viewing it? Are you steering the plane in the direction that you're watching? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, so it's very intuitive. We're using the smartphone sensors, the gyro and the accelerometer,
mm-hmm.
to actually steer the airplane. So the flight is very intuitive. Wherever you look, that's where the airplane's flying. You're looking up, airplane will go up. If you want to land, you look down. Turn right or left, you just turn your head to the right or to the left, and that's where it's going to fly. And to make flight really easy, we developed with the good friends here in Israel that are professionals in
mm-hmm.
in navigation and in flight control. We developed an auto stabilization autopilot system. So on board, the technology that's on board is quite amazing. It has tons of sensors, a barometer, gyro, accelerometer, compass. All these are intended for making flight really easy and intuitive. So even if you have a windy conditions, yeah.
Is that the flight assist technology that you're talking about? Flight assist?
So no, this in the PowerUp FPV, it's much more than flight assist. It actually has a full-blown autopilot.
Oh.
With the PowerUp 3, we have some flight assist features that make flying easier. It doesn't have any sensors, but what we're doing there is that we're making flying easier by automatically adding thrust or changing the rudder control.
Mm-hmm.
So flying is more intuitive. But with the PowerUp SPV, the one with the Google Cardboard, here we actually, very similar to quadcopters, we're using sensors to compensate for many things. If you have windy conditions, if your airplane has a tendency, for example, to stall, if you made a very crappy airplane with one wing that's entirely bent,
yeah,
it'll still fly. It'll still fly, and it'll self-stabilize. So it'll give you, regardless of your capabilities, it'll still give you a sense of gratification. And the unique thing that we're actually going to do in the app, and that's something we're working right now, is that we're going to let the customer actually be able to influence the parameters of the autopilot. So you can design different airplanes, and each airplane can have a different feature set in terms of its capabilities. If you want to make, for example, an airplane that will loop, will be aerobatic, so you will be able to program it or tune it to work that way. Or if you're going to make an airplane that flies really, really slow, like a B-52, then you'll be able to do that. And if you're flying in very windy conditions and you want your airplane to be able to sustain that, you'll be able to tweak that autopilot to deal with those conditions.
Now,
so that's kind of a unique thing, where you have a platform that's designed for multiple airplanes.
Now that's called the PowerUp. What is it? ST. What was it? What is it?
The FPV.
The PowerUp FPV is the first.
Okay. All right. So the PowerUp SPV.
It's FPV as in first person view. So FPV.
F is
FPV.
first person view. All right. So then it seems to me, because this is difficult enough as it is, Shai. I mean, if someone is going to do this for the first time, I would think that they should go for the FPV right out of the gate. I mean, do you think that?
Well, first of all, there's the cost issue. Everyone has his own budget.
Yeah.
And it also depends what kind of experience you're looking for. So I think, the first one that we have, and I usually look at this concept, these are the products that we are introducing as an opportunity for, for parents and grandparents to engage with their kids. Because, the adults usually are the ones that know how to make the airplanes. They want to pass this knowledge to their kids. It's also a great opportunity to take the kids out of their the smartphones and computers and to go outside, do something, go outdoor, run, make something together. It's very, very educational as well. So the first generation, the 2.0, the one that's pre-flight, that's really something that an 8-year-old can fly. He just needs to fold it and launch it. So he initially can practice how to fold and launch. That's the first thing. Mm-hmm. Afterwards, the 3.0 is all about control, how to control something like an RC, like a remote control airplane. Mm-hmm. And the FPV is already all about, it's much more than that. It's already about, it's about navigation. So it's like a real airplane. When you take off with a Piper Cub in a real airfield, if you've ever done this, after takeoff, the first thing that you think about is, hey, how do I land? And where do I land? And where am I?
Yeah.
So you're constantly worried about where you're flying. And that's exactly how it is with the FPV. Once you're in the air, it's very serious. You want to know where you're flying. So it's really thrilling.
Well, let me ask you this. What kind of costs involved? How much are each one of these products?
So the 2.0, the entry level is $16.99. The 3.0, which is the RC version, is $49.99, and the new one, the first-person view, is $199. So that one comes with a bigger product. It's heavier. It comes also with a replaceable battery, so you can hot swap multiple batteries. And I didn't mention this, but the more advanced models can fly up to 10 minutes.
Wow.
So that's on a charge. And if you take more, a few batteries with you, you can actually fly for a few hours.
Well, what kind of batteries is it batteries that you can buy at any store, or is it specialized batteries?
So for the FPV model, we have our own dedicated batteries, mm-hmm. which are lithium batteries mm-hmm. with their own casing. So you have to buy it from us.
All right.
It has a unique compartment that attaches to it. And for this product, we actually partnered with a drone company called PowerUp, and we're using very similar batteries to what they're producing. Uh-huh. And we partnered with them about over a year ago. When I came up with this concept, I thought to myself, if I do this, I probably need to find the best technology for video streaming, because this is the biggest challenge. With Wi-Fi, mm-hmm. we all know that when you get away, the further away you get from your transmitter, you can lose your signal. Sure. It's not always that great. So that's the challenge. You continuously have an airplane that's either flying towards you or from you, mm-hmm. and you need to keep that video signal streaming without any interruption. And it was apparent to me that, it's clear to me that, PowerUp is probably the best company in the world that can, that specialize in streaming video and audio using Wi-Fi and Bluetooth.
So when you
for video, Wi-Fi was, of course, the right choice.
So when you went to PowerUp with this idea, I mean, how did they embrace it immediately, or you had to show them or convince them? I mean, how did that work out for you?
So initially, before I went to them, I had to, I didn't really want to do this concept initially. I mean, this idea came up of video streaming with our first Kickstarter. It actually came up from our backers. Everybody was asking, "Hey, put a camera on it."
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Okay, camera is cool. You know, we can buy a SD card camera and just tape it to the airplane." But that wouldn't be that interesting because, you know, nobody usually has patience to download the video, the photos or video. And as a pilot and as a pilot in real airplanes, it was really clear to me that, you know, if we really want to create a value, is that we need to be able to give this real first-person view experience. That will really blow everybody away, minds away. And so I tested this. I purchased some analog equipment, and you can actually go to my Facebook. We recently published some of the early prototypes, which are really funny. These huge antennas and funny cameras, and you know, as an inventor, what you do is you start iterating and testing and prototyping. And you know, before developing this and before going to PowerUp, I needed to verify that this really works, that creates a real experience. So I purchased this very tiny camera. It transmits to a viewer, an analog viewer. If you know, you have these viewers for drone racing. So I took this kind of prototype, and I glued it onto a paper airplane. And with my previous knowledge, I was able to make it fly. And it was great. I loved it. I said, wow, if we can do this, this is going to really blow everybody's minds away.
Yeah.
And I went over a year ago to a very well-known consumer electronics show, the CES show at Las Vegas. You know,
yes,
this show. And I actually didn't plan to talk to PowerUp at all. But I passed by their booth. They have a beautiful booth. They always have these drones flying around and dancing. And it was really spontaneous. I just said, heck, wow, let's see if I can maybe catch some R&D guy and talk to him about this idea. And I was lucky. I gave my elevator pitch. And very quickly I met the person that's responsible for new R&D and partnerships. And I gave him the best pitch that I could. And luckily, we had this amazing Kickstarter before this idea, which gave us a lot of credibility. We sold a lot of units, and it was still is a very successful concept. That is, it's a bestseller on Amazon, for example. So I convinced him, and we started working together. And before you know it, less than a year later, we have something that works. And it works great. It's amazing how it works.
So
it's a lot of fun.
So tell us, why do you think your paper airplanes have resonated so well with everybody, young and old alike? What do you think it is?
That's a good question, because when you start something, you don't always know what you're doing, and later, the project, the product tells you. It's almost like like a sculpture that when you're sculpting something, you don't know exactly what's going to come out of it. Later, it tells you. So I think, over the years, when I learned, who our customers are, who are using it, we learned that a lot of old folks are using it. We had a few guys in the UK that were World War II Spitfire pilots, real Spitfire pilots. That they have this club and they fly. They're like 70-something. And they're buying these ultralight paper airplanes, and they're flying it indoor, and competing. We had the Space Propulsion Lab in NASA. They purchased these for their engineers. We have a lot of teachers buying these for teaching aerodynamics, for example, younger kids. So it's very varied, and I think. And regarding your question, what's the story here? I think it's what you said in the beginning. It's all about recreating or reliving a very positive childhood memory. It's almost like the first time you learned how to ride a bike, or to build a kite with your father or mother. It's like that amazing first success of making something that works. It's like, and it's not just something. it's something it's a real experience. It's almost like defying a natural phenomenon of flight. And as a kid, that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
You experience, that's really a thrilling experience, and you remember that as something that's very positive. And I think the adults, the inner child in these adults, when they see this, they say, "Hey, I know how to make a paper airplane. I got to try this." I think that's what happens actually.
Well, I'm sure how gratifying that is to see that and see your idea come to fruition, and people are really enjoying this. I realize you're just coming out with the FPV, but I'm going to ask you this question anyway. I mean, where do you see yourself going next in the next year or two with this? What do you think that we can? Where do you think the company is going to go, Shai?
Yeah, so I would say to the clouds. I'd love to see, myself sitting in my backyard and flying above the clouds with a paper airplane. I mean, have you ever flown above the clouds? You remember that feeling?
Yeah.
Before when you come, with a real aircraft, you glide very closely above the clouds before landing. Do you remember that kind of unique scenery? I think that would be cool, if you can fly a mile up. And I think it's possible, by the way. I mean, I did the calculations. I think it's possible.
Well, there's always new Wi-Fi.
There's
new Wi-Fi. We're just talking about 802.11ax, that's coming out. I mean, with
new standards.
These new standards coming out with further ranges.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can do it also with cellular technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think everything's possible these days. I think, it's all about if it inspires us, and I think that's the magic word, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's something that's worth doing and it inspires us, people will be happy to spend a few dollars to experience this.
Oh, I mean, look at
I think that's the main value.
Look how drones have taken off, literally, figuratively. I mean, really. I mean, everybody wants to have it. The power of flight. We're seeing it on TV now. So many of the air scenes that we see now on television shows, and it dawned on me they didn't rent a helicopter; they got a drone up there doing.
Yeah, a lot of aerial shots are done by that. And by the way, just one thing that I would personally be looking forward to, Shai, if you ever get around to it, is and yes, this is borrowing some games that I have seen from drone manufacturers, but the idea of an aerial dogfight where it shoots little infrared, kind of blasts, and it would hit a sensor on, like, let's say your friend's airplane, and being able to, not literally, shoot down an airplane, but, kind of make the plane kind of lose control and crash in a field somewhere. Having the ability to kind of dogfight airplanes would be a very, very cool.
Do that, you can just attach to your paper airplane scissors or maybe a lighter and just do it for real. Actually, you can dogfight with the FPV. And with the 3.0, you can do real dogfighting. And regarding, the digital kind of effects of shooting each other, we tinkered with that, and we're thinking about that. And it is possible. And of course, you can do it. Always the question is, what is the play value compared to the investment?
Right.
And, so we're looking at many different options. And currently, our main focus is really getting that SPV out and making it a good, reliable, and robust product. And you asked regarding future things. I talked to you about the clouds, but I can tell you that where we're really focusing these days is all around the educational sector and aspect, because we do feel that this could really be a great concept for kids. These days with STEM education, it's not just learning robotics. You can actually learn aerodynamics and flight in school. And we see that in reality, a lot of teachers are just picking up our products and doing it. So we have some curriculums for teaching aerodynamics with our designs. We're launching in the next week or so on our website platform where educators, teachers, parents can create their own projects with PowerUp, so they can invent things and try different designs and and tell us about it and share with their community.
Well, Shai, listen.
I think this is where
Yeah. Listen, this is amazing stuff. And again, you can go to the website poweruptoys.com, poweruptoys, just like it sounds.com. You can check it out for yourself and order one of these devices. Allows you to take your paper airplane and make your own power flight. It's just very cool. And of course, you can also go to our website at computeramerica.com. It's right there on our homepage, and you can check it out for yourself. Shai, I want to thank you for being here and letting our listeners know about this. This is very, very cool and very unique and very entertaining. And we wish you all the best with this. And please keep us informed as you continue to make more PowerUp products. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the opportunity for telling my story.
Uh-huh.
It was a lot of fun.
All right. Shai Goitein, again, founder, creator, and CEO of PowerUp Toys. Check them out at the website poweruptoys.com. Thanks, Shai. Take care, and thanks for being with us here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there he goes. Okay, so there it is. PowerUp. Really amazing. Give your own paper plane the power of flight with some.
Yeah, the whole controlling aspect of the plane is very, very interesting. But I think it really captures the imagination when they made it virtual reality compatible. That's a really cool thing to me.
It is. Yeah, you put on a Google Cardboard on your smartphone, and you literally view it through the like virtual reality. That is amazing stuff. All right. Well, coming up in the second hour of the show, we've got computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And some interesting stories, including Instagram is rolling out 60-second videos starting today. And also Sony's Ultra 4K streaming service goes live on the 4th of April. Those stories and more all coming up in hour 2 of the Computer America show. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
Yes, you are. And we just finished talking to PowerUp Toys, the ability to take your paper airplane and making it into an actual flying aircraft that you can control remotely. Very, very innovative. Certainly very
and obviously very, very popular because as I said, he already went through one successful Kickstarter funding round, and now he's come out with a version 3 of the exact same product, but this is the the first person view model, and he said he already raised over $500,000 just by people who want it, who pre-ordered it. So obviously very, very anticipated.
Yes, exactly. So, and if you missed any portion of the show, we archive everything at ComputerAmerica.com, so you can listen to it. Just go to any page at ComputerAmerica.com. Just click on the archive pull down menu, and you can check this out for yourself. All right. So anyhow, we're going to do some computer and technology news, and anything else you want to mention to our listeners before we start the news portion of our program, Ben?
No. I think we are good to go. And as you mentioned, there were some very interesting news stories from yesterday we might get to, but today, just as many, if not more. So really up in the air.
All right. Well, let's do some computer news then. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. SlimwareUtilities.com. Check them out. Check their website. You'll be very happy that you did. You'll thank us for it. SlimwareUtilities.com.
Exactly. So I think our first story is going to take us into the realm of the eventuality that I think we all saw coming with cell phone plans. And yes, this is a leaked document from T-Mobile, but it reveals that it will be launching a data-only plan. I think we all saw this coming. This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, considering how popular data has become and how unpopular picking up the phone and talking to someone is. So, T-Mobile, and this is again according to Engadget, and yeah, T-Mobile is preparing to launch 6 new simple choice plans on March 30th, which is, by the way, tomorrow, according to a leaked image obtained by the T-Mo News. And this is according to, based on the info in the image that is embedded in the article. And, you know, if you're watching a live video stream, you can catch it there as well. But yeah, and according to the image, these upcoming plans are tailored for subscribers who rely on voice over IP and chat apps who only ever use their phones to go online and text. They're data-only plans that come with unlimited text messages, and they have absolutely no voice minutes included. Let me read that again. Your phone has absolutely no voice minutes included. We have reached the point where your phone is no longer a phone. It is now a computer. So rates start at about $20 for 2 gigs of data per month, up to about $95 for 22 gigs per month. So, you know, $22 gigs a month is actually a huge amount of data. But, you know, I assume that would be some kind of family shared plan. So yeah, the regular simple choice rates start at about $50 for 2 gigs. And the T-Mobile has a prepaid plan that costs about $30 for 5 gigs and 100 minutes of voice and unlimited text. So these options are only available for subscribers with GSM devices and BlackBerry users who have either BlackBerry 10 or the Priv, what have you, which runs on Android. So, and you know, the Engadget has reached out for comment, but yeah, you can see what they're pulling off here, this image that they're pulling off here. But yeah, you know, it's 2 gigs, $20, 6 gig, $35, 10 gig, $50, 14, 18, 22 gigs is $65, $80, and up to almost $100 for, again, the 22 gigs. Greg, what do you think? What do you think about a cell phone plan? Again, a cell phone plan that has no voice minutes included.
Well, I guess if you have something that you could use like Skype on your phone, or some of these voice over IP services they have apps that you could use, and I'm assuming that's the technology you would to communicate via voice, because you still
and you know, we saw this when Google released their own service. And Google's own service was entirely voice over IP. If for some reason you don't have internet, then Google will kind of rent space, quote unquote, from nearby cell towers. But on the whole, if you have an internet connection or if you have cell phone data connection, it will use your cell phone data instead of a traditional, you know, cell tower. So
yeah. Well, and that's what I do.
Not unheard of.
No, and that's what we do with our smartphones here in our household. That on the iPhone, there's an option which you can turn on and says, "Hey, if there's Wi-Fi in the area, do you want me to use Wi-Fi for your information, your calls, rather than the cellular data?" And I turn that on, and I'm looking at mine right now. It says AT&T, and it says Wi-Fi, and it's got the little Wi-Fi logo rather than the LTE, you know, on the top of the phone, so you know when you're using it. I haven't noticed any difference. It's very, very smooth, very, very transparent. It works very.
And of course, you know, we talked about 802.11ax, and you know, as better as 5G is actually going into the experimental stages. Of course, 5G probably isn't going to get here again. The documents that we read till about 2020, I believe, is when they're hoping to roll out the first 5G networks. But once 5G is here and once 802.11ax is here, then the idea of nationwide reliable internet connection is almost guaranteed. And not just solid, but very, very fast internet connection, which can easily handle something like voice over IP. So this is, again, slowly but surely a case of better technology winning out. And whereas voice, you can only do so many things, like talk, for instance. At the end of the day, data just does so much more, and people want more and more data. So why not focus on getting people that, and kind of cut away the stuff that they don't want, which for T-Mobile at least is is voice.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as you said, a lot of us saw it coming, and evidently it's going to be here a lot quicker than we thought. And I'm sure the other providers will eventually have some similar type of packages.
Oh, for sure. Because again, if you live in a special place where you have a solid internet connection 24/7, then odds are you're already using nothing but data. Exactly. So it's good that they're going to offer plans that kind of let you save that little bit of money for a part of your plan that you really don't use.
Yep. All right. Now this next story is from Tech Hive, excuse me, and I have not noticed this personally. All right. But evidently, and I didn't realize that Netflix had this feature. But if you, again, this is according to.
You never ran into this?
No, Ian Paul.
Oh, I run into this thing nightly. Oh, this is the whole reason I have the Google remote desktop app.
Oh, well, here it is. Here's the thing. Evidently, and the only binge watching I've been doing is watching Daredevil, and I've been watching it for hours, and I've never had this pop up on it yet. But evidently, according to the title, there is a way to banish Netflix, and they call it continue watching pop up with something called Flix Assist. And let me explain to you what happens. Netflix, again, this is called, according to Ian Paul, says Netflix loves to serve its binge watching customers who view a whole season of House of Cards or Daredevil in a matter of days. Hey, I almost did it in a matter of hours. But evidently, according to him, Netflix knows how to annoy bingers as well. The worst is when the streaming service pauses your show every few episodes to ask, hey, are you still watching?
Not even every few episodes, because this happens to me, again, on a nightly basis. I can tell you, it lasts exactly 2 episodes in about 3 minutes. So, if you're watching something like a documentary that has, hour-long episodes, it will let you watch for 2 hours straight. And then about 3 minutes into the third episode, they'll stop and say, "Hey, are you still watching?" ? And then they'll do that. Now, if you're watching something with 22-minute episodes, it will ask you after 45 minutes, "Hey, are you still watching?" And personally, yeah, I'm usually still watching after 45 minutes. So this is very, very annoying to a lot of people.
Well, I know you like to leave Netflix on night and fall asleep. So
of course,
now if you're sleeping, then it says you're still watching. It'll time out, which makes sense, because why keep providing?
The problem is I'm watching Netflix, so I don't fall asleep after 2 episodes.
Okay, well, I certainly don't fall asleep when I'm watching Daredevil. All right, I'm up in it, but I haven't. I've watched several episodes right after another, and I've never seen this message, so I don't know what it is. But anyway, if this happens to you, there's a solution. He asked the question, would you rather not have to deal with that little pop-up just pop-up messaging, hey, are you still watching? Well, evidently, if you're using Chrome, there's a new Chrome extension called Flix Assist. Not Netflix, it's just Flix Assist. And it aims to solve the continue watching problem and get rid of that 30-second countdown between episodes. Here. Now, there's really nothing to this extension. He says, now I know I say that a lot, but I really mean it this time. That's what he says. With Flix Assist, all you have to do is install it, and the extension starts working. There are no settings to turn it on or off. You don't have to sign in, nothing. You just install it, start watching Netflix, and the extension takes care of the rest. And I kind of like that, don't fiddle with it. It just does its job. That's great. Now it says, keep in mind that this extension will only affect the performance of Netflix on the desktop. It won't speed up the 30-second pause between episodes on your smartphone or any other non-Chrome platform. Meaning, horror of horrors, you'll actually have to tap a button to skip the 30-second intermission. Now, Flix Assist isn't the only Chrome extension that tweaks Netflix behavior. One alternative is Netflix Pause Removal. This is another one, which dumps the continue watching pop-up but doesn't remove the 30-second intermission. So, according to him, probably the best one so far is this first one we were talking about, which is Flix Assist, which does get rid of the 30-second countdown.
See, and personally, like this is like the on par with the revolution of ad blockers and watching YouTube videos, so that whenever you try to watch a 20-second YouTube video, you don't have to sit through a 45-second ad. Like this is the same level of convenience revolution as that for me. So exciting.
Which is exciting, especially and obviously extremely useful to people who do this. Unfortunately, I would love to see something like this for CBS.com and ABC.com, because there's nothing worse than trying to watch a TV show that you may have missed, or gets preempted, or I hate that, because you're watching a show and they have basketball updates, or election.
They've gotten really good at preventing ad blockers from doing their jobs.
Yeah. And so you have to kind of painfully sit. What's worse, though, is you get into a loop. That happened to me the other day. I got into a loop. So I watched 6 commercials, waited for the show to start again, and then went to another 6 commercials, waited, and then I went to another 6, and I realized that the show was never going to start again. I was just in a continuous commercial loop. So I had to exit the browser, start it up.
How much money they made off you? Like pennies. Oh.
No, it's just the time. I mean, you sit through this stuff waiting because you want to see what's going to happen next, and you can't. And the only thing to do is quit out of it. But at least they offer the option of advancing to the point, where, they have little markers on the time bar beneath the video. So you can go to, let's say, the first commercial break or the second commercial break. They at least offer that. Some pay-per-views, for example, or not pay-per-view. That's the wrong, but on demand. That's on demand. For example, Uverse has on demand. Which I really like, because if you miss a show, you have it on demand. But guess what? When you start using on demand on Uverse, a little thing, and you try to advance or fast forward, or or you can't do it. It says sorry.
I'm not a fan of the Uverse on demand. Like it's very because it has to kind of download it to your receiver before it even starts.
No, that's not what this is. This is not a technological problem. This is that they want.
Well, no. I'm saying just the whole act of downloading the episode instead of streaming it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but they make it worse. Uverse does not allow you to fast forward to or I don't think you can even rewind. You just basically.
I don't think anyone has ever said those darn cable companies. They're too convenient. I don't think anyone's ever had that problem. Yeah. So there are very obvious, conveniency issues that strictly streaming sites like Netflix and Hulu and whatnot that they've kind of overcome. That traditional cable companies, they say what you want as much as you want the a la carte system that Netflix has. That's not what their business is built on. It's built on advertising, so they have to squeeze it into every avenue. Like they can't just say no. We're running your ads on. On channel 12, you should be okay. No, they want advertising everywhere.
Well,
it has to happen.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, then there's a new thing called cord cutters. And I know we haven't covered them lately, but yeah, cord cutting is a thing.
Okay. All right. Well, this is an interesting story. So what are we doing next?
Okay, I guess not talking. So I think the next story we're going to do is this one about food purists. And, I will admit I've fallen into the maybe bad habit that, there's nothing better than the natural essence of food. That you can get, your nose up in the air a little bit too much, a little too snooty about, what makes food delicious and what makes food, I don't want to say worth it, but what makes food food?
What makes food satisfying?
That too. But This is an article from Popular Science, and it's their science division. But will the food of the future be unnaturally delicious? And that is not the slogan of Kellogg's
Mhm.
Lucky Charms. There we go, which is magically delicious. No, unnaturally delicious. So Jason Lusk's new book makes the case for robot chefs and pink slime. And the article is a bit long, so we're really not going to get too far into this. But I think it's an interesting take on something that's been happening for a while behind the scenes, and it's the idea that we have one of the like one of the best things for food companies nowadays is not to hire huge name chefs to create things that you find on the supermarket on the supermarket shelf. What they actually hire scientists, not chefs, and they hire these people who are going to essentially engineer more than cook. Whereas a chef may experiment, may make this, try different baking times, may try different preparation, may try this, and that. That has really gone the way of let's hire food scientists, and they're going to make food that is the saltiest and the sweetest and the most savory and and just the most every single aspect of our food to the near extreme. That's why when let's say you eat a bag of Doritos or what have you, like it's going to hit those notes on your tongue much better than any kind of tortilla chip covered in cheese that you possibly could make at home. Is because they have an army of scientists who in a lab have created the best tasting flavor scientifically.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what's been happening currently behind the scenes. And this gentleman's book, which is again Jason Lusk and Unnaturally Delicious, I think I might want to go pick it up. But and it's a new manifesto detailing how science and technology are serving up superfoods to save the world. So, and there he describes a memorable meal in Las Vegas, which is one of the trendy restaurants owned by the celebrity chef Bobby Flay. And as fans of Mexican and Southwestern food, they of course enjoyed it, and a couple foods there. So thoroughly did they enjoy the appetizer that they bought the cookbook for the recipe. So, and with that, that's where the disappointment began. So he's saying that first, the fuss over finding the right kind of chili peppers, then the time spent roasting the peppers, making a roe, assembling the various quesos together in a dish. The recipe claimed half an hour was needed to prepare the dish, but it took them all afternoon. And the result was it was pretty good, but it wasn't quite right. So, they're kind of wondering what the big deal was. So they had at their beck and call the services of a personalized chef that makes perfect dishes every time without complaining and without pay. A robo chef like Rosie and the Jetsons could be just the machine to salvage desire from disappointment. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and that was the emphasis behind it, is that Craig, you don't really cook that often. I know this from first person. You do cook sometimes, but you don't cook that often.
Uh-huh.
But he's making the claim that in the future, as much as the Food Channel, as the Food Network would have us believe, and all that kind of stuff, as much as cooking can be a kind of a personal spiritual experience, the whole mom's in the kitchen making dinner and blah blah blah, Americana, what have you. He's saying that one thing that might save us from the drudgery of perfect food is why not have a robot just like you're seeing here on the video stream, which is essentially arms connected to kind of a workstation, mm-hmm. to kind of take all of the menial work out of making the perfect dish and have it do it for us. Like that would be a good addition to the kitchen, is not just another oven, not just another stove, not just another kind of baking dish, but rather a pair of robot arms that would make food for you.
Well, I don't know. There's something about preparing your own food and cooking, which is nice. Otherwise, why bother? Just go out, for dining. Yeah.
Price, and knowing exactly what's going into the food.
Yeah, but it's going to be
Because
for the cost of the robot itself is going to be incredibly expensive.
I mean, robotics every day is coming down in price. What used to be a couple $1,000s is now a couple $100. This
Yeah.
is the fact with anything technology related. Is something that is cost prohibitive one day is 10 years down the road mundane.
Mhm.
Like I saw IBM loading their 5 megabit hard drive in 1958 into a carrier plane, and they had 20 people trying to load up this hard drive
Yeah.
that was 5 megabytes.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can't even buy 5 megabytes.
No, you can't.
It's way too small.
Way too.
So he in this book he's making the case for actual robot arms, and how robot chefs of the future are probably going to be pretty synonymous with the kitchen. Maybe not something as creepy as just a pair of weird robot arms, but some kind of device that will make food for you rather than giving you the tools to make your own food. Because that's one of the great things about technology. Technology not just doesn't make things easier, more convenient, but technology in general saves you time. Like, that is one of the main benefits of better technology, is that if I don't even know, there's so many things that technology does. In cell phones, instead of having to wait till you get home, walk all the way over to the phone on the wall, now you have a cell phone in your pocket. That saves you X amount of minutes that you need to get to a wall phone or a payphone. Technology saves you time and energy, and I guess instead of giving you the tools to expend your own energy and your own time, why not make something that is going to save you both?
Well, possibly. Possibly. I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me, but hey, that's just me.
Well, you also thought that robots wouldn't write books.
Well, that's true too.
I feel like you're giving robots the short end of the stick in a lot of your future, imagination.
Well,
you really don't like robotics, as we're seeing with a lot of different things that we talk about. Drones are going to become a daily part of our lives, and RFID chips are going to be a bigger part of everyday. I just heard a story the other day about RFID chips. Hotels are actually embedding RFID chips into their towels, and if you take one of their towels, they will charge it to your room. They're going to know exactly who took the towel.
Well, is that a good thing?
Good thing or not, it's going to happen. And between drones, robotics, AI, artificial intelligence, and neural networks that all these companies are working on, satellite communication, and all this kind of stuff. Everything that we talk about in 5-10 years, these things are only going to get more prevalent. Like, there really hasn't been maybe 3D, but there really hasn't been a technology that has gotten less invasive into our lives. Well, it's always you cannot, like, whatever extreme you can think about taking it is usually the extreme it gets taken to.
Well, I have one here which I think is an exception, and it's actually the subject of our next news story. According to Popular Science again, where they say one promising robot loses its job, and that is the job of a robot being an anesthesiologist. Okay. Evidently, there's something called a company called Sedasis. Evidently, they're gonna, as the storyline says, it's going to be painlessly put to sleep. Because think about this, robots are coming for our jobs, and the ones we were talking about in our homes, everything. Evidently, now there's an area of medicine called anesthesiology, and anesthesiologists are highly paid professional, skilled MDs that specialize in putting you to sleep and waking you up and making sure all that goes without incident. These doctors help patients walk the dangerously thin line between pain-free unconsciousness and death. And for that service, they can charge $2,000 per procedure, probably a lot higher. Okay. Well, evidently, they tried to come up with a robot named Sedasis that could do the same job for more like $200. except nobody wants to buy it. Several outlets are reporting that Johnson & Johnson will stop selling the Sedasis because of poor sales. This robot was able to administer anesthesia for routine procedures while monitoring the patient's vitals. It could be operated by a nurse or a clinician, which is where the cost savings come in. Basically, they got FDA approval in 2013, but as the Washington Post notes, Sedasis was never welcomed by human anesthesiologists. Before it even hit the market, the American Society of Anesthesiologists campaigned against it, backing down only once the machine's potential uses were limited to routine procedures such as colonoscopies. Basically, it looks like humans have won this route, and I understand it. I mean, look, let's face it. I mean, they weren't doing this because, oh, we're afraid of being replacing a job. The role of an anesthesiologist is critical to virtually any operation that takes place. Because when you go under, I mean, basically, it's they're actually introducing some sort of a poison to your system, whatever it may be, to knock you out. That's what it is. It's a form of poison, but it's under very, very close control. And to trust that close control to a robot, it's a critical thing like this. I mean, I don't know. Would you do it? Would you have a robot put you underneath, knowing that you could die if Windows failed or something, whatever operating system the thing was using? I know I wouldn't trust it. I couldn't, and I just think this is one area.
See, I know there are bugs, I know there are glitches, and trust me, I've dealt with many of them. But at the same time, I've dealt with many people. And at the same time, would you trust a complete stranger to do the exact same thing?
Yeah, he's not
stupid.
No, he's not a complete stranger. He's a qualified anesthesiologist.
He's a qualified stranger. But then again, we trust computers with, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about this, because I don't think this is resolved. We need to talk about more when we come back, okay? And we're curious to hear what you might think as well. This is the Computer America Show. Ben and I are doing computer technology news, brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. We have another news test bulletin review coming up as well. We'll continue on with this story when we get back. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
That Romeo had more pickups than Ford. Oh, hi, Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Moen Arbor hands-free kitchen faucet. Well, we're looking at being miserly with resources. We asked to see the Moen Arbor with Motion Sense hands-free kitchen faucet. The tall hook-shaped faucet with extensible spray wand has a single-handle water control on the side, plus passive infrared sensors at the top of the faucet and low on its upright. A control box connects under the sink using either a battery box or a wall wart for power and opens the flow control solenoid inside when you pass a hand across either sensor. A knob adjusts the hands-free water temperature and comes preset to lukewarm. Bottom line, by turning water on and off at the moment of use, a Moen Arbor with Motion Sense hands-free kitchen faucet can help you use less water. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Well, welcome back to the Computer America Show. It's 33 minutes after the hour. Ben is still having a debate.
No, I'm not.
Okay, there he is. We're doing this. We're doing Computer and Technology News brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And we're doing this story from Popular Science, where we asked the question: would you trust an anesthesiologist robot to do its job? And I would not. There's no way that I would allow that to happen, because
What do you think the robot is incapable of?
I'm just saying, because I mean, some sort of a bug. I don't want to lose my life because of a programming bug. Oh, because let's reboot the system. You know.
You think they don't test this? You think they threw it out the door and said, it's a little buggy, but whatever.
I'm
saying,
saying,
test this?
yeah, I'm just saying that at least that for now, today, I would not trust.
What bug are you referring to? What bug have you found?
I'm not saying it, but
you're throwing out a hypothetical quote unquote bug that could end your life when there is no evidence of anywhere of that ever happening.
Well, and that may be the point, but there's something about it which I just don't trust. I don't feel comfortable.
Your gut. So your debate on the intellectual side is, I don't trust it. Why? Because my gut says no.
Well, because I mean, listen. There's nobody more loving of technology than me. I mean, I embrace it. You go onto a plane, we're going self-driving cars. I mean, all this stuff that's going to be technology. But when, and even in medicine today, we see more and more technology. But there's just something about this particular story that just hits me funny, and I don't trust a robot to perform the anesthesia.
But you'll trust robots to run your financial system of your entire economy. You'll trust robots to, as we're seeing more and more often, pilot people, autonomously through traffic at high speeds. We'll trust computers to fly planes autonomously.
Well, we're not yet, but we're getting there.
No, Greg, it's already happening. I mean to tell you, really, the only control that the pilot has is during takeoff and landing. When you're 30,000 feet up in the air, that's a computer.
Yeah, but the point is, something can happen in the science of anesthesia. It just takes a moment, and you're brain dead. I mean, it's that fast. And I still want a live, qualified anesthesiologist to be there.
And I'm saying that a program through machine learning, as we just saw, AlphaGo, the capabilities of a machine to learn the outcomes and the possible outcomes, from the immense amount of things that could go wrong, the amount of expertise that these robots can pick up in such a short amount of time, why? And second of all, they're not just saying, okay, put the robot in the room and throw the person in there, and the robot's going to make the person go to sleep forever. Like it's not zero oversight whatsoever. They're still monitoring the people, but the robot is doing the very, very precise medicinal part of this.
Not according to the story. If you read the story, it says the big expense is the presence of the anesthesiologist, and the idea is that you don't have the anesthesiologist in there.
No, you don't have the anesthesiologist, but you have doctors and nurses besides. You don't have to pay that one anesthesiologist, but you have other people who know what to do.
Well, not necessarily. I mean,
they're not qualified to pump the drugs into your veins, but they're qualified to take care of you.
Well, yeah, but the point is,
The anesthesiologist isn't the one, helping you after you're bedridden. The anesthesiologist is just there to inject the chemicals.
well, it's more than that. It's more than just injecting chemicals. They're monitoring all of your body functions, and
I say computers can do that better. They have been doing other things much more complex than that better for a long time.
all right. Well, we can argue this to death, but I'm saying at this point,
Well, so far the only argument I'm getting out of you is I don't trust it because my gut says so, and that's not convincing.
because there's too much that can go wrong at this point.
There's too much that can go wrong. I would rather not trust a human who did not have his coffee and happens to be on Quaaludes that morning because he decided to experiment. Why are we trusting people with this?
If you're going to compare, I'm saying take a qualified medical professional doctor who's chosen the
Okay, let's put it this way. Let's pretend instead of medicine, we're talking about Go.
That's
and
not.
You can have the apps. It is absolutely the same thing.
No, it is not.
Absolutely. You can get a neural network that was designed by any company, by IBM, by Intel, by whoever, and you can teach this thing medicine till the dogs come home. And let's say you have a computer that is better than any trained professional, objectively. It's better. And you can have that one robot doctor, quote unquote, program that is better than any doctor on the planet. And you can have that in every single hospital across the country, across the world, even, because it's a program that can be multiplied 1,000 times over. Why would you not have that one best trained doctor in every hospital? Instead, you're relying on thousands upon thousands of, individually trained.
Well, but the point is, first of all, there aren't thousands and thousands of anesthesiologists. They're as difficult to come upon as medical specialists. They are a highly trained medical specialist. They're a doctor, and they haven't and they've been training for years on this. In addition,
there are 35,000 anesthesiologists currently.
The entire country, right? And that's not very many.
That's thousands and thousands.
The point is that it is a crucial stage of every operation, and I don't trust a machine at this point in time to control the anesthesia if they're operating on me. And that's all I'm saying. Give it
again. The same argument you're giving over and over again is I don't trust it. My gut says so.
Yeah, and that's it. Sometimes it comes down to your gut, and right now, that's how I feel about it.
Science does not move forward with gut trusting. I'm just saying that we trust robots with so many other things, and at some point, things get so complicated that instead of having someone train for half their lives just to do one simple task as keep you alive and keep you under, for them to spend 25 years, why don't we train a machine, a program that can take in more data than a human ever could simultaneously.
Maybe in 25 years, but for right now,
I absolutely could, and absolutely are. They absolutely are doing that.
All right. Well, then when you have your critical operation
and now you're going to jump to, well, then you do it, Ben. Blah 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 blah. Blah. That does not prove your point at all.
All I'm saying is that I don't trust the technology as
that's not convincing.
All right. Well,
that's not a convincing argument. That's saying, I don't trust it. That does not prove anything.
Sometimes
show me a place where an anesthesiologist robot has, said, oh, well, someone missed a 0.0 in this program here, and it injected them with 32 liters instead of 32 milliliters. Like, that's never happened.
Well, actually, it has.
Where?
Actually, there was an interesting case where they had it was an X-ray machine, and it was completely automated to take X-rays, to replace the X-ray technician, which is not even really a medical professional, okay, to do it. And evidently there was a bug in the program, and the amount of Roentgens that were issued to him in that 3 or 4 second exposure was like instead of one time, it was like 100,000 times. Killed the patient, fried, and they were still alive but they basically cooked his insides, and there was nothing they could do. And this is documented. And again, it was a robotically controlled X-ray machine, and this wasn't even in an operating environment. This was just And ever since I've read that story and saw what happened, I mean, what was it? Even the patient made a funny joke about it. He was trying to be, humorous about it. He said, "Oh, well, they had their phasers weren't set on stun," or something with some quote like that before he died. Ever since I've read that, I have just been very wary about when it comes to computers. And
where is that from?
I'll look up the story for you. I can't. I'll find it for you. I'll go on Google and I'll find it. And it happened a number of years ago, but it was basically the same idea. And I'll find that story for you. But at this point, yes, I will. But at this point, I just don't trust them. I don't. Not something that's this critical. I want a human being there doing it. Okay.
I'm just saying, in the future, we're gonna have to hand our trust over of driving our cars.
Yes,
we're gonna have to trust driving our cars. We're gonna have to trust.
No
argument. We currently trust our entire financial system and really our entire way of life to robots.
No.
Why is something so small such a big thing to tackle?
Because it means your life. If it's wrong, you die.
So does driving a car and riding in an airplane.
Well, as I said, I trust technology for that, but I don't trust it as an anesthesiologist because there's so many fine minutia things that still have to be done, and I don't think that it's at that point yet. And again, my case in point, that's what happened. No one is ordering these machines. This is just not me. It's poor sales. They can't sell them to hospitals. They're turning them down, and this is
to be fair, before this thing even hit the market, the established kind of group, the anesthesiologist, the anesthesiologist group,
the Society of Anesthesiologists.
There you go. The group of people whose jobs were at risk. This is like saying, it's like all the truck drivers say that self-driving trucks are bad.
No,
really, obviously.
You don't have to study, 15 years out of your life to become 20 years to be a truck driver.
I'm just saying that the people who had their jobs on the line rallied against it, and that's not really a shocker.
Trust me, the anesthesiologists were not feeling threatened here. I
really do believe they were, but obviously we're not getting anywhere with this.
Before you have an operation, the anesthesiologist comes in, they check with you, they talk with you, they see if there's anything that they've missed. It is quite a detailed, redundant process to make sure that the procedure's done right, and I don't think robots are at that point. I just don't. Okay. All right. So
I found the story that you're talking about. A radiographer who commits suicide after blunder during routine procedure kills patient. No, he's probably in response to that.
I'll find that story.
I think I found it.
Okay. It's your story next.
All right. So from heavy story to heavy story, or it should have been a heavy story, but Craig is technophobic. But here we have a story, and this one is from Ars Technica, and this is about the FCC and Tom Wheeler at it again, at odds with with the Senate. And this time, Tom Wheeler says that the bill banning rate regulation would kill net neutrality. That thing that was passed and now is still under fire. Yeah. So legislators would ban rate regulation of internet service providers could prevent the Federal Communications Commission from enforcing net neutrality rules against blocking, throttling, and paid prioritization, according to Tom Wheeler. So although the FCC decided to not regulate the monthly prices charged by broadband services, the Commission's net neutrality rules rely partially on rate oversight authority over common carriers. And the relevant sections of the Communications Act say that the prices charged by common carriers have to be just and reasonable. Those sections also ban unreasonable discrimination in charges and practices. So in plain English, that says that if you're buying internet, and even though there may only be one service provider, and you're way out in the middle of nowhere, so obviously they're going to discriminate against you because it's going to take a lot of money for them to get it out to you. That doesn't mean that they can charge you $800 a month for internet service. Nor should they.
Yeah, you're right.
So this rate oversight power, although with other authority, was used by the FCC to justify the three so-called bright line rules that prevent blocking, throttling, and paid prioritization. So that's why a new bill called the No Rate Regulation of Broadband Internet Access Act sounds sounds weird. So could threaten the FCC's core net neutrality rules. This was according again to Tom Wheeler. So Wheeler wouldn't object to legislation that merely prevents traditional rate regulation from being imposed on internet service providers, but this bill, quote, would introduce significant uncertainty into the commission's ability to enforce the 3 bright line rules that bar blocking, throttling, and paid prioritization rules, as well as general conduct rule that would be applied to issues such as data caps and zero rating. So, consumer advocates and others have warned that the bill's vague wording could strip the FCC of powers to prevent egregious billing practices.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, this bill that is being introduced would limit the oversight that government would have over private industry's ability to, kind of say, hey, you're charging too much. And obviously this is, very, very important to the cable companies because, with less oversight, it means that they can do more with less red tape. And, I'm sure this is going to be, seen as a streamlining measure and that kind of thing. But at the other end of it, it's also, hey, with little to no oversight, how is that going to protect the end user from egregious practices?
Yeah, it has. You don't want vague wording in a bill. You need to have it very clearly defined, and that's not what's happening here. And I think that's probably the main thing. Is they're trying to sneak this through, or not sneak it. They're trying to get it through, and Wheeler's not being fooled.
Right. So, and of course, the no rate regulation bill says that notwithstanding any other provision of law, the Federal Communications Commission may not regulate the rates charged for broadband internet access service. Ooh. So, it says it in clear English right there that the FCC cannot tell the cable company how much they can or cannot charge.
No, well, we don't.
So, so if a cable company is charging you $300 a month for something that, in other areas would be, $50, $60, $70, then hey, you have no one to call.
Yeah, right. Not good.
And of course that bill would of course need need approval in the House, the Senate, and of course go across the president's desk. But the fact that this is getting any attention whatsoever and is being introduced is worrying to say the least.
Okay, so this is,
we kind of like net neutrality. We kind of like the level playing field and the internet as is.
Yeah, this is a sort of not necessarily a last-ditch effort, but certainly an effort to try to.
I feel like there will never be a quote-unquote last-ditch effort because net neutrality has not been popular from the get-go. Like there will always be some company out there that could see the benefit of doing away with net neutrality because there's a lot of money to be earned. So there will never be a last-ditch effort. Yeah. There will always be someone.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Anyway, obviously it's not getting snuck by, and saying as the article says, that I don't think we have too much to worry about there. We may have time for one more quick story here. I was going to do the one about the rollerblades coming up with treads and everything. But here's one from Tech Hive. The Internet of Things is all fun and games until a racist takes over your printer. Evidently, according to the story from Tech Hive, Jared Newman, a white supremacist hacker sent racist documents to thousands of publicly exposed connected printers. Last week, thousands of connected printers, largely at U.S. colleges and universities, began printing out racist, anti-Semitic, and anti-immigrant messages. In all cases, the printers had port 9100 exposed and turned up in searches using MassScan, a mass IP port scanner. All it took was 5 lines of code to take them over. Good.
And my question is this really a hacker, or is this just a very common? Because port 9100, I haven't looked into it, But that seems like a pretty common practice that lets really anyone print anything on a university, owned printer. Is because those printers kind of need to be open for people to access them because, a lot of people walk in and out and need those printers. So is this really a hacker, or is this someone who, just kind of knew?
We know who it is. The hacker responsible for the racist printouts was a man called Andrew Auernheimer, Weave they call him, who detailed the attack in a post on Storify. Speaking to the Security Ledger, Auernheimer said he was trying to demonstrate to his fellow white supremacists the insecurity of the Internet of Things devices and the ease with which someone might carry out an attack on these devices. Auernheimer has a long history of online harassment and trolling, but may be best known for his role in a 2010 hack of AT&T, which exposed the email addresses of more than 114,000 new Apple iPad owners. In 2012, Auernheimer was convicted of felony charges under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act and spent about a year in jail before an appeals court overturned the verdict. After his release, Auernheimer claimed to have become a white nationalist. And he says he used Masscan to discover the exposed printers. He noted that the subscription-based service engine Shodan would have worked just as well. Security experts have used Shodan to warn about the Internet of Things vulnerabilities for years, and the engine recently added a way to find exposed security cameras. Now, he summarizes why this matters. Usually when we hear about security issues in connected printers, cameras, smart TVs, cars, and other connected products, the danger is theoretical, and the vulnerabilities are patched before they can do any real damage. It's much more rare to see a malicious hacker execute an attack on a large scale, but that's exactly what happened here. While the attack itself is deplorable, it may actually succeed in getting people to take security more seriously. As Security Ledger notes, at least one university is now planning to put a firewall in place to block further attacks. So there you go. So he did take a proof of concept, did it, owned up to it, and maybe it just makes people more aware that these things are possible. Certainly, the university is taking care of it.
Yeah, the whole white supremacist thing was a weird angle to take on it, but this is something that our own resident Charles Sandell has been advocating for a long time. Is that the proliferation of the Internet of Things, be it printers, be it door locks, be it cameras, be it webcams, if you know what you're doing, they're really not that safe.
Yeah, and what he did wasn't that advanced.
No, not at all.
5 lines of code. The printers
5 lines of code and this thing called Masscan, and there are actually tons and tons and tons of websites out there. Although most of them on the dark web, which are unlisted, but it crawls through as many channels as it can, and it finds like the IP addresses of webcams. It finds the IP addresses of printers, of blah 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 blah. Really anything connected to the internet, and it collects them all into one big list.
Right.
So his 5 lines of codes probably just found that big master list that's actively being collected all the time, and probably just goes to one, inserts the command, and then moves on to the next one, inserts the command, and on and on and on. And yeah, it's pretty simple.
And it was looking for printers that had the port 9100 exposed, not behind a firewall. And when it found them, it just implemented it. All it would it's a simple case of just making sure your firewall.
Yeah, and again, the port 9100. Again, I haven't looked into it, but whenever things are this, are this widely accessible, it's usually not because the manufacturer didn't do this, or this. It's usually because when installing these printers and when putting them into place, instead of having to do something a little bit more complicated, or instead of having to do something that would take a lot more time and effort, you could just unlock one port and just kind of drive everyone to that one port, and kind of let anyone access it, instead of having to kind of do accounts, authentication, this blah 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 blah. Just open up that one port and you're good to go. So it seemed more like a practice issue than an actual technology flaw. That in practice, this is pretty common, and at the same time, this is very, very easily abused.
Yeah, and so very easily fixed too. Again, just to make sure that your firewall is, has this covered.
Well, easy fixed in that to fix it, you just have to turn on the firewall. But when you fix that, it means that the usability probably goes down, and then you have to solve it another way. So obviously easy to fix, but the usability side of it gets more complicated. But hey, that's that's trade-off with the Internet of Things, is that security does not, most times does not make things more usable, which nowadays people like usability.
Yeah, exactly. There was another story that I wanted to do, but we don't have time. Maybe we can do it tomorrow. Sony's Ultra 4K streaming service goes live.
Yeah, that's crazy. They're going to charge $30 a month.
Yeah,
for 4K movies.
Only if you have a Sony 4K TV too.
Well, yeah, you have to have the hardware to back it up.
And the movies are not that new. I mean, I think the newest thing I see was the movie Concussion, Will Smith's movie. Most of them are fairly old, but they are in 4K. So maybe we'll have a chance to talk about that tomorrow on our computer and technologies. And I still want to do that electric rollerblades, go off road with the tank treads, tank treads on rollerblades. So we'll probably do some more of these stories tomorrow. And speaking of tomorrow, in the first hour, we will be doing computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization
90 seconds.
software of Computer America. And then in the second hour, we're going to have the Giz Wiz, Mad Magazine's maddest writer, is going to be joining us in the second hour. He's got some real fun things that we're going to be talking about on his website. So he's, again, Dick DiBartolo. He goes out and finds all these cool things. He's on TV, and he's been a Computer America correspondent for many years, and he'll be joining us in the first hour. Again, I want to thank PowerUp for being here on the show with us, talking about their paper airplanes, and it was a lot of fun. And again, you can check them out at PowerUpToys.com and check it out for yourself. If you like paper airplanes or want to make one that you can fly, that's certainly the device to add to it. And again, Dick DiBartolo going to be with us on tomorrow's second hour of the show. Of course, don't forget, on Friday we have our social media winner of the week. Make sure you head over to computeramerica.com and get yourself registered for our Logitech MX2 Anywhere wireless mouse valued at $80. And who knows, we can call in your name on Friday. So that about wraps it up. And until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one, everyone.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, again, everybody, thanks for watching our video portion of our show. And Ben and I will see you tomorrow with Dick DiBartolo, the Giz Wiz. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.